Welcome back to Cultivated Conversations. Today, I'm joined by an iconic multi-hyphenate. Lauren Mandel is a showrunner, executive producer, and founder of Disco Nap Productions. From the NBC Page Program to the halls of SNL, Lauren is the person who helps talent bring their vision to life. We won an Emmy together on a project we worked on last summer for the Paris Olympics, and most recently, we got to spend most of our spring and a lot of this summer working together on the Las Culturistas Culture Awards. I'm so excited for you to meet her and hear her story. Please welcome Lauren Mandel.
Thanks for having me, Jen.
Thank you for being here. I feel like, I wooed you for a little bit, but I'm immensely grateful that you're here. And this is your first podcast interview? No, you've done one before.
Oh, no, I did one, but it wasn't an interview. It was mostly just me proclaiming my obsession with Emmy-winning. I hope no one finds this podcast.
Okay.
It's very old.
Everyone is quickly Googling.
Yes. It was a podcast about, the best sidekicks. And I said the best sidekick was Emmy-winning.
Love that.
Do you know who Mikey is?
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes. And I gave an impassioned speech for Mikey, and I stand by it to this day. He's one of the greatest sidekicks of all time.
Oh, my God. I love it.
Yeah.
So good.
Kind of says a lot about me, just to start us off.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I love starting the conversations with how we know each other. So I think let's tell a little story about our wild journey into this relationship of ours.
Sure. Well, we know each other because we worked together on Watch with Alex Cooper, which was her watch-along show for the Summer Olympics. And we watched women's sports, and I got to know you through that one, and now we've kind of worked together a couple times since then, which has been really fun.
And we won an Emmy on
we
that.
We did win an Emmy on that one.
That was your first Emmy, right?
Yes, it was. Very special.
Congratulations, Emmy winner.
Thank you so much. Congratulations to you, too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was a wild show. And then I think, we just hit it. I mean, Lauren, you're such a creative force. I watch you in amazement because you wear 8,000 hats and you wear them well, right? It's not like you wear one hat and then the rest of them are half-assed. Like watching you in the control room, it's like you were directing, you were executive producing, you're show running, you're writing, you're helping book talent. Like it's crazy. So tell us a little bit about, how you got to where you are. Who is Lauren Mandel today and what does Lauren Mandel do?
Oof, this is a great question. What do I do? I think I help talent do what they do, and I know that probably is not an answer you like from me.
I get it. No, I get
but
it.
I really do think I am the person who helps, Julio Torres once described it to me as I am someone who helps talent catch their butterflies.
Yeah.
And that is such an abstract thing, but I actually kind of relate to it because I've always been obsessed with entertainment. I knew I was going to do this. I have a crazy entrepreneurial spirit, and so I tried on a lot of different hats, and you've seen me continue to try on a lot of different hats.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like one job description has ever fit me until producer, because no one can define a producer.
Yeah.
And I love that because that means I get to do a lot of different things. I came up, doing the Page Program in a year where it was the first ever rotational program, and we got to rotate all across the company and try different things. And I just kept
NBC Page Program.
NBC Page Program, yes, Kenneth the Page totally was on brand for me. And I just kept coming back to production, and I kind of knew that was always where I was going to land.
Yeah. I know, it's funny. I think we talked about this on another episode where we were talking about how you can't define producer because it depends on the project. It depends on the day. Producers are the people who get shit done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so many things need to be done in these projects. I think especially this day and age when they want more of a show for less of a team. You know, that's the whole MO. Okay, and then somewhat recently, within the last couple of years, you launched your own production company, Disco Nap. So what drove you to want to launch your own company, and how's that journey been so far?
It was honestly something that I guess I was doing without even knowing I was doing it, because the youth asked if they could start working for me, and that was when I knew I must have a company because people are asking if they can work at it. When I was at SNL, which is what I did after the Page Program, my title was writer's assistant, and so I really wanted to make it known to everyone there. I want to be a producer really badly, and so whether I can read your scripts or I can produce your stand-up show, I would love to start like being seen as a producer. And I knew also at that show, like no producer was ever going to leave. And so if I wanted to do this, I was going to need to make it happen outside of the show. So I started just working with writers and cast members on projects outside of the show. You know, at the time it was Bowen Yang and Sudie Green and their brilliant friend Mo Fry Pasek on a show called Trine, which was a stand-up variety show at the Freehand Hotel, or Gary Richardson and Alex English and Devin Walker on a show at the Jane Hotel. And these like little things started growing into bigger things, and I started to need more infrastructure because it was like, oh, we need to pay people, and oh, we need insurance, and oh, maybe some like contracts could be good to protect myself.
Sure.
So the company came about because I had to take care of not just myself, but also like the people around me and make sure that like there were systems in place for them. And I think also I always knew I wanted to work for myself. I just didn't know what order it would happen in. I think I thought you had to work at a production company and a studio and a network, and then maybe if you made it at a network, you could leave and start your own thing because you would get like given a ton of money from someone to like start your own thing. Yeah. And I've just done it in completely different order. Yep. But I really love, like, I've always been an entrepreneur. Like, I've always made something.
Yeah, you get to carve your own path. Yes. And I think that's actually one of the most beautiful roads to entrepreneurship, is something that you're kind of already doing, and then you sort of wake up one day and you're like, wait a minute, like, this is a thing, right? Yeah. This is a thing. And 'cause I feel like for me it was sort of similar. I was doing something and sort of saw some space, right, in between the walls, if you will, and then just went to fill that space.
Yeah, especially like now, my business is essentially being it almost feels like what creative directors have been doing in music, but I am now doing it for comedians, right? So like being the person that is like scaling and creating larger experiences in comedy around talent's vision for their shows, but it goes like beyond that. It's like creating like ecosystems around like one idea, and that one idea like branches into other things. Like
the Culture Awards.
The Culture Awards is like the most perfect example.
Yeah,
I mean, that's another one we worked on together.
So we just did the Culture Awards. If you were living under a rock, you may not have heard, but you know, arguably one of the biggest moments of the summer. And what an amazing show. And I know, I'd love, as much as you're willing to share, how did that come about? Because I think people tuned in and you just think, oh, you know, NBC, you know, wanted this show. But in fact, it's something that has been in the works and around for a bit.
Totally. Oh my gosh. So I knew Matt and Bowen from pre-SNL. Matt actually was in my first pilot that I ever had made.
Amazing.
He was the sidekick in my first show called Night Late. That was an NBC pilot presentation, which is why I left SNL, actually, kind of crazy. And then Bowen, I also just knew from like UCB alternative comedy scene. So, I mean, it wasn't alternative for us. It was like everything. It was everything. So I'm like, everything else was alternative. That was just like where we were. And I kind of was like known in that group as like a producer that you could call to like help execute your things. And so that summer, it was like going into summer 2022, they had been approached to, at Lincoln Center, do a show about these awards that they had like mentioned on their podcast. And they came to me because they were like, we've already told Lincoln Center we would do this idea. You have just produced the MTV Movie Awards. And at this point I had left SNL and been doing People's Choice Awards, VMAs, MTV Movie Awards. They're like, would you come and just apply what you've been doing there to our thing? And so like I kind of then built the infrastructure, brought on a team, created the rundown, and honestly took it as seriously as possible because I knew that would then allow them to like bring their humor as if I could treat it like the most traditional, serious award show. Yeah. And every year it just like grew a little more. At some point it was like very clear that they just, rightfully so, we all wanted it to just be able to like reach more people. Like this was such a special experience. I mean, the first year, so 2022, right? Like we're still in COVID vibes. And everyone in that crowd standing up together to do the Macarena was like one of the most bonding beautiful experiences like I've ever witnessed. Like that, like fan base, community, Katie's readers, publicist, finalists, Kyle's, is just such a special like group of humans that like whatever we could do to like continue to grow the show so we could just include more of them, like I think that was always the goal. So every year there always was a conversation of like, should we stream it? Like, how can we stream it? We were doing a lot to try to make it happen sooner than it did happen, but it all happened the way that it was supposed to because it was just so perfect, and we had the best partners, and like it was just such a magical, I don't know, summer the way we did it, and the fact that like you were a part of that and so understood the DNA of the show, like in all of the bookings and the conversations leading up to it, and also the conversations that we had because I had done all the booking before.
I know, which is wild.
And it was so crazy to get to talk to someone about that actually. I mean, I don't even know if we've properly even like talked about
each other on that.
But yeah, just the conversations of trying to explain to people
what it is
and what you will be doing, and just like my deepest respect for you and what you were able to accomplish with this show this year on that platform was pretty remarkable.
Well, but people, like, I think the thing about it is when you get it, and so many people get it. And if you don't, you don't, right? And that's totally okay. But I mean, Matt and Bo, they're just so brilliant. And you want to know the other thing that just, I mean, not surprised, but they're so kind. Like they really are just the most genuine people. And I think like I just fell even more in love with them. Like, you know, like just so much respect. Like they see everyone around them, and I think that's rare. You know, it's, I mean, we've had very different experiences on other projects that we've worked. Everyone thinks, making television shows and all these award shows are so glamorous. And yes, sure, the night of, everyone is very dressed up and very glamorous. But it is the furthest thing from glamour usually leading up to it, you know? I mean, it is blood, sweat, and tears. It is long hours in the best way, right? And we all love that and live for it. And like, but that's just what it is. They're giant beasts that have to come together. And I know you've done so many of them too. You were just part of the VMAs again, right? Yeah.
I mean, I just love working with Matt and Bowen because they understand every single department that has to like come together to be able to pull something off. And they understand what every department does and the blood, sweat, and tears, and they understand when something is someone's expertise and maybe it's not theirs, or they want to understand and learn something that maybe they didn't know before. But also the way that they trust their own voices, I think, is also so special, and they trust their guts, and they're just also like the funniest, like most brilliant humans, and their sense of what's to come in pop culture is also so strong, and their ear to the ground is so strong, and I just adore them as humans, and they are just could go on and on. And I know I like try really, really hard to work with talent. Like I really do try to have this rule, like in terms of like disco nap talent that I work with, and of course like now if my business is growing, this is like harder to continue, but my rule so far, and I hope it stays, has been like I work with talent who would do it themselves if they could, in terms of like the producing. They just don't have the time because rightfully so, like they are busy doing all of their other things. But like they certainly could, like Matt and Bowen could produce a show and like do it all. I mean, they do a lot of it. They just shouldn't be doing all of those things. And it's good that they delegate and give that up and like hire people like me and you to do what we do. But like a lot of the talent I work with, like certainly is more than capable of doing these other parts of it. They just shouldn't and don't.
It's interesting because I do feel like there is this era of the Renaissance man and the Renaissance woman coming back in a way. There's so much talent out there. You know, mainstream talent, social talent. I mean, everyone is a piece of talent. You know, it's differentiating yourself, right? Is you really have to put on this Renaissance crown. And I think those are the talent that are breaking through into that more mainstream entertainment space. In a way that I think has never been done before.
Totally.
So it's just, it's fascinating. I think, I mean, speaking of the industry, what are some of the other things that have either terrified you or excited you, or just about where we are in this moment?
Like, I'm so excited. I just see opportunity. The live space is where it's at, and that's what I've been focused on. So, I feel a lot of pressure because I feel like, oh my God, I'm going to miss it. And if I don't finish my thing fast enough, like I will miss this boom and then all this excitement will not have been worth it.
I think our industry has changed more in those 5 years than it has in like probably maybe not 5 decades, but in a really long time.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happening is there's this, it's almost confusion, right?
Totally.
And there's this sort of level setting to like, okay, what is the new normal?
Yeah.
And that makes people a bit uncomfortable, I think.
Yeah, I'm able to say all of this because that system never worked for me.
You.
I never was able to monetize and like profit and found a place in that system.
Yeah.
Like I now am able to articulate a story of like success and like, yay, it all worked for me. But I was only able to get these jobs because the industry was essentially saying cut budgets, and I was an up-and-coming showrunner. They were like, we would rather hire a cheap young showrunner, let her make mistakes, than, you know, so
spend our entire budget on a veteran.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is something I benefited from, and I'm very aware of that. And I learned and made mistakes I'm very aware that like that is totally what happened, and I'm very like grateful for that. And I'm still totally making mistakes. And I don't have mentorship for that reason too, right? Because there was no one who was like, I mean, my God, though, you are so mentorship to me, my friend.
My
Absolutely.
Gosh. Are you serious?
Oh my God, yes. That's why I feel like we've had like such a lovely relationship in the last year, because you have kind of like been that person that's been like, oh, I'm not going to like gatekeep from you. Like, this is how this happens. But I've never had that, because I have had people be like, I mean, I definitely was getting these jobs that I'm sure people were like, that was so-and-so's job before, but then young person who will do it for cheaper because what was her job before, you know? That, I mean, that's just my...
Yeah, but also, like, give yourself a little more credit than that, you know? And advice to young people, right?
Yeah.
Breaking into the industry. Like, what would you say to them in times like this?
Oh, man. I mean, you have to really, really love it and want to do it. Yeah. And you have to not be afraid to fail. And just... put stuff out there. Like, but I'm telling them things that they seem to already know. Like, I feel like in terms of like the digital conversation, like that is their norm. Yeah. You know, like I feel like I'm giving advice that like would be advice for people my age, but I think that they are like, that's normal to them.
Well, they're so savvy. I think just the amount of information that is accessible.
Yeah.
It's wild and amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that it's like, read the trades.
Yes.
Read, like, just know what's happening in the industry, know the players.
Yes.
Because that does play a big part of it. And knowing like, okay, I could do this internship or do this thing for little to no money, but it's going to open this door to this bigger, it's all so connected.
Yes. Don't underestimate professionalism.
Oh, yes.
And like advice that I probably should take myself, because I do think I am at that like cusp of the generation that kind of missed this, is like, pick up the phone, call people. And you tell me this all the time too. I'm really bad at the phone because I never had to be good at the phone. You know what I mean? Like, I think being an assistant is so valuable. You do not, we have so much time. Like, do all those things. It is so important. And please be professional. Like, you are going to have so much time in this business.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about creative process. Ooh. I feel like I actually don't know this about you. Like, what do you do? Do you lock yourself in a dark room with a candle and some jams and just like I'm just, what does that look like for you?
Oh my God. I think that it is go out, see a ton of things, be at every concert, go to cool restaurants, dinners, like, be out, and then absolutely lock myself inside and like don't exist to anyone, because I actually think I have to process all of the things that I have exposed myself to. I don't actually think I process in real time, but I do say things to feel out how they sound coming out of my mouth, like I'm processing in real time, but I need to actually like internalize and think about them. Yeah. And I do think my creative process does actually take a little longer than I allude that it does.
I actually feel like I'm a bit the same. I need a moment to process things sometimes too.
I will like have a dinner with you and I'll be like, this is what my opinion was of that. And like, that didn't feel right. And then I'll like have a dinner with you and I'll be like, this is what my opinion was of that. And I'm like, I don't really feel like that's it either. And then I will go home and I'll be like, I gotta write about what my thing was. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh yeah. Now I feel good about that. Like, that's what it really is. Yeah.
It's like verbalizing things
Yeah,
to see
my
how
poor
they land.
fiance.
That's okay. He loves you for it. He loves you
Yes,
for it.
yeah.
What about, like, where do you find inspiration, or where do you know what to watch? Like, anytime I have a conversation with you, it's like, you know, every artist, every movie, like, you just,
God.
you're this wealth of knowledge. How? Like, what are your secrets? How do you know and gather all this stuff?
Oh my God. My friends, thank God, are so plugged in. I have this cohort of friends from the Page Program, and they aren't even like necessarily, some of them still are, but they're not even all like working in production anymore. They're kind of like spread even further from entertainment at this point. But they just are curators and tastemakers, and they just care about entertainment. And like, I'm honestly, like, part of moving back to New York has also been like inspiring for that reason for me too. Like, I have like a friend who cares the most about like restaurants, and I have a friend who cares the most about like hotels, and I have a friend who cares the most about like concerts. And maybe that might be me at this point. Like, actually, I'm that friend that no one is replying to in the group text about wanting to go to 100 concerts to, and that's okay.
I'll go to a concert with you.
No, you won't. At this point, I'm aware that my taste seems to be getting younger and younger, and people are like, we're not doing that anymore.
Oh my God.
But you will come to a concert with me.
Yes.
You will. You absolutely
Yes.
will. I will make you do that.
Will.
Please,
I will.
You love music. You will come to a concert with me. There's very little that I'll say no to. Like, I don't really judge like what someone likes or doesn't like.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I feel like instead of judging, it's almost like a filter to better understand someone.
Yeah.
You know, like what they're watching, the types of things they're listening to.
Yeah.
I feel like, again, it's not judgmental.
Yeah.
It sort of opens up this piece of my mind to like, oh, okay, that's their taste. That's what they're into.
Totally.
I feel like you just learn so much about people by that kind of stuff.
I think it's also my love language. Like, that is the thing I bond with my friends over. Like, I'm not giving, you know, like romantic advice. I'm not, you know, like very comfortable talking about like personal or family things. But like, if you want to talk about what like the housewives did this week, or, you know, like what new thing is opening downtown, like, I got you.
Yeah.
So I think that's also part of it too, is like, it's what I care a lot about, for better or worse.
Yeah.
It's a lot of brain space.
Though it's like the same thing with me. I think like someone could name any celebrity at any time, and it's like I could tell you,
It makes me so happy,
where they live, what movie they're in. I mean, that sounds creepy, but that is, and I
it's your
actually
job,
couldn't.
too.
Yeah, and I actually couldn't even tell you. That's why I was curious. Like, I couldn't even tell you how I get all that intel and information, other than just like being immersed in it all day, every day.
It also like is why sometimes I get hired on things.
Yeah,
like,
because you just have this database of knowledge up here. Yeah,
and I think the second, I would love to not have Instagram. I hate to have, I mean, I barely post. I do it because it's my job, and I'm on it because it's my job. I actually really don't care.
I'm not as good about it as I used to be.
Yeah. I have a really bad relationship with my phone, as you know, from my texting habits.
Yeah, that's okay.
I think SNL ruined me with my phone. Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I mean, I think that's something that's made it hard. I mean, people like you and me, we live to work and we work to live. I think it is very cyclical, and I think like I truly love what I do. I know you do too. And like, is it hard at times? Yes. Is it 24/7 at times? Yes. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I fucking love this shit.
Same.
You know? I mean, it's like it's in my soul. But I do think that it has become a bit more just like around the clock all the time.
Yeah.
So that it's just like a little bit of a boundary setting.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and I've talked to you about how I've noticed that I think my friends have noticed how, I'm like, maybe it's weird how much I work, or maybe it is weird how much I talk about work. And now I'm like more aware of it than I used to be.
Yeah. But it's because you love what you do.
But I feel like I'm constantly at that dinner in the episode of The Studio where they're like, you're not curing cancer.
I know.
We are.
I know.
I'm like, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. I know.
I'm always at that dinner.
That's what I say at the end of the day, and why I have that no room for assholes rule, which you love, right?
I love that rule.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we are entertaining people.
Yeah.
We are creatives. We are making television or podcasts or, media, whatever it is. And it's not that serious.
No.
But for some reason, a lot of the people in the mix, can be quite intense. And I think it's just something that's come with my more mature age. I think we're creating joy. It should bring us joy. And I think as long as we stay in that space, then we're winning for sure.
Totally.
For sure. So I want to talk a little bit about working with talent and celebrities. I know you touched on this a little bit earlier, but I think that is one of the things that we very much have in common. Talent used to just be hired for, here's the show, who's going to host it, right? And I think what's happening now more than ever, and why people like you are just in the zone, in your career, is that talent are getting to make and do what they want, right? So anyway, I'd love for you to just talk a little bit about how does that work? How are these new ideas and concepts and formats and things coming to life? And like, what does that process look like?
Well, I think a lot of it is still being figured out.
Yeah.
But I mean, the talent has access to resources and is making a lot of the deals directly, or are making a lot of the deals directly. So that also means they can distribute how they want, right? For me, when a talent has an idea, they can just come to someone like me to execute it. And
what do you mean by that? I think break it down a little bit. Just what does that look like for someone who's not in?
I see.
Yeah.
So, for example, Julio Torres came to me after the Culture Awards and said, well, that was very fun. I'd like a Culture Awards type thing for Halloween. And so Julio, who I knew from SNL, we kind of brainstormed a little. And Julio is an artist, a visionary, and probably a word Julio would hate, but a fashionista. And Julio, has a ton of fans that are artists and creators themselves. And Halloween has always been a part of Julio's community and conversations and brand and projects. And so we came up with this idea for a Halloween party that revolved around a costume competition. And the fans showed up, not just in this is a costume I got at Party City, but this is something that I made with my hands, and I had XYZ resources to put it together, and I somehow got on the train in this outfit, because it's Julio. It was also about, who were the nightlife hosts that could be a part of this evening? What were the drag performances? Who were the DJs? And also Julio cares so much, and so we were able to partner with Glitz. Just every part of the evening was so curated and so vision through Julio's lens. And that was just because Julio said, I want to have a Culture Awards event from Halloween. So Julio comes to me and says all of these things. Then it's on me to say, well, who are the different people I know in my community and Julio's community too, that have that lens that can come together to pull this off? So who is someone that's a production designer? We needed a screens content VJ type person to create content on the screens. We needed multiple rooms to do this in. So what's our venue going to be like this? Because we wanted to create some sort of a kind of a nightlife, not just a show. We wanted this to be an extravaganza type party. We needed someone to promote this. It was the first time we were going to do it. So a former Page friend of mine, Colleen at Collective Publicity, came in and did the PR for the event. It was all these like-minded people. Charlotte Harrison did all the production design for it, created this thing called the Cursed Amulet. We brought in a bunch of different brand partners, and that was how we funded the evening. We had judges that came in and judged the costume competition. Tomas Matos was our mistress of ceremonies. I mean, there was all these different things that had to come together to make it happen.
Amazing.
It was crazy. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if none of that would have worked out, technically, yes, Julio and I would have had to probably pay for it. Legally, technically, yes. Yeah. That would have been a disaster. Yeah. Thank God. Yeah. We were able to sell tickets. But we knew what the risk was when we put this on. And that is, I think, the power that the talent has in creating their own thing. And we had enough market research from Julio having done successful tours and specials and TV shows and directing movies. And we knew that we would sell tickets for the event.
Well, and obviously it was wildly successful last year because
we're doing it again this year.
Amazing.
Yes. We partnered with Nylon, and it was incredible. Yeah. I could go on for it.
I love it. Going off of that, right? I think that's a great example of how talent are leading everything. I think social media and I think YouTube have been a huge part of that, right? Because a lot of these talent are like, well, I don't need whoever insert X network, right? I can just film my own thing and put up my own content and do what I want. It's like, what is your thing?
Yeah.
And the fandom is just so massive and incredible.
Yes.
Because people have millions of people tuning in to watch them put on their makeup.
Yes.
And yet, mainstream television gets a fraction of that.
Totally.
It's just wild.
I also think that talent, they know they have a lot of power. And so if you are going to be, they also know that they have to give commission away to a lot of people. So if you are going to be one of the people that works with them, you better be bringing your work to the table. And so if they can choose the partners that they want to work with, I think they want someone to come in and they know exactly what that person will be doing for them. So when someone brings us on, it's like they know exactly what we're doing for them when we work with them. And to be honest, we put together a whole proposal that says in writing and in dollar signs exactly what we'll be doing for them if they don't know. But they usually know by the time they hire us, and they're like, thank you for the paperwork, but we're probably not going to read that.
100%.
But I mean, I want them to see it on paper too.
Yeah, it's important.
It is so important because also no one explained. There's also there aren't systems that show. I would love to also help talent know all these other things that go into it that perhaps they haven't been exposed to. So I also want to teach them those things too. Not that they need it.
We need to do a 101, production 101, right?
Yeah, totally.
Because I think half the time, there's so many things that people don't even realize.
Yeah, it's kind of like what I said with all the talent I work with. They could be doing it themselves. They have all the ability to be doing it themselves. And I think it's important that they all know. I mean, on the podcast I do with Devin Walker, we meet every week, and we are all really transparent about this is what this process is, this is what this process is, so everyone knows who's working on what and what is going on, because this is new territory, So,
Lauren, what are you the most excited about that's coming up, or what are some little things that you maybe can tease that you may be a part of?
Oh, there's a lot going on that I'm really excited about. There's something I'm going to be working on in the spring that I cannot share anything about, but it's going to be major. Okay. And let's just say it's a tour that I'm thrilled to be a part of.
Oh my God, amazing.
It's going to be great. And I just mentioned two of the things that I'm working on, which are Julio Torres, The Cursed Amulet, our big Halloween extravaganza, October 30th in Bushwick. Chic.
I love the way that was your announcer voice.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's how Julio would want it to have been said.
Yeah.
Very important. You got to change your change the delivery for the artist. And then my favorite lyrics with Devin Walker. I am so proud of this, and just honestly, it is such a treat to work with Devin. I've been working with Devin since 2017. And this podcast is something we started developing a year ago, and it came out in May, and it's called My Favorite Lyrics. He talks to friends, comedians, musicians about the lyrics that they love, and the influx of people wanting to be on the podcast, we've talked about this, is crazy. Yeah. It's just been a highlight to work on that with him, and I'm so proud of him, and also just proud of what we've done with the show, producing it independently.
Yeah, well, everybody please go check out those two things, and if you're in New York City, they can get tickets, right? Yes, to the Cursed Amulet?
Yes, check. Okay. You'll have to just go to Disco Nap's Instagram to check that out.
Oh, okay. And what is Disco Nap's Instagram, Lauren?
A Disco Nap production.
Should we just finish the whole podcast in this voice?
This is our radio voice.
Yes.
Signing off.
Yeah, thank you, Lauren, so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you, Jen, for having me.
Oh, and thank you all so much for listening to and or watching another episode of Cultivated Conversations. Please send us a note. Say hi at cultivatedent.com. We want to hear from you. Tell us what you're loving, what you want more of, or what you're not loving. That is okay, too. She takes constructive feedback well. And tune in next time. Bye.